I think it's proliferating because the ideas really appeal to our things that we're all human beings are naturally tempted by. And so it creates a situation where it kind of proliferates itself, but it certainly is deeply embedded in the academy, right? If you read queer theory and critical race theory literature, that all these ideas are very radical and they've been out in the open. It's just that most people don't read that stuff because it's almost impenetrably written in some ways. It's, I think, probably for a point, but
do you see that classic interview between Matt Walsh and that university professor, and he asked him the difference between sex and gender? I'm not sure if you ever watched What is a Woman?
Oh, I did, yeah.
And the guy was just spewing things that made no sense at all. And Matt just kept asking him very simple questions and he imploded.
Right.
I think that's what happens.
And he wanted to kick him out.
Yeah, to your point about like the jargon that's impenetrable and you say for a reason.
Right. Well, because if your goal is not to arrive at the truth, but to, align yourself with a certain movement that can then be powerful, right? I think the goal is not truth, it's power.
Yeah.
And so you have to constantly be manipulating even your own words and then afraid of somebody saying something that's simply true.
Yeah. It was, who wrote the book? Joseph Pieper. He wrote a book, The Abuse of Language, The Abuse of Power, something like that. And yeah, the idea, I suppose, if I cannot communicate objective truth to you, if objective truth doesn't exist, or if I'm unable to communicate to another mind, then what is the point of speech? Yeah. And if there is no truth, it might be manipulation. Yeah. So I speak in a way to make you do the things that I want you to do. And it might be conducive to both of our goods, and it might not be, and who cares anyway? So yeah, so speech, redefining speech becomes a point of power. And you think of all the deviant sexual acts that the church wants to condemn, and it's really interesting to see how we've chosen different language. So adultery, which is a very serious sin, is now cheating, like it's a game. Or sodomy, which is a very ugly word for an ugly behavior, is maybe like gay, or love is love. Abortion is healthcare. Yeah. Self-abuse goes from like masturbation to maybe even self-care. Like we have to manipulate the language.
Gender-affirming care.
Gender-affirming care for child mutilation. Wow.
Yeah. That's why I think one of the best things to do is to name things as they are, right? And there's a spiritual dynamic. I'm not the first one to point this out, obviously, but that God creates reality through his word, and we identify reality through ours. And in the woke movement, you're creating reality through your own word. So it's another, I think there's so many ways in which it's a self-deification. And I think that's one key one.
I understand what you mean, but I'd love you to flesh that out for us.
Well, God made the world through his word, right? His word creates.
I get that bit. And then I get that we participate in recognizing things nature.
We are trying to correspond our thought and our words to what is real.
Right.
So words do that, and that creates a shared inner life. Like we can have a shared inner life if we have that understanding that our words should correspond to reality. But in the woke movement, if I can change reality through changing a word, like you just elucidated, but also with my pronouns, then I'm creating new substance, the idea with the power of my word. And then I can demand that other people affirm that.
Yes.
Because it's tenuous, obviously, I think ultimately, but that's why it becomes totalitarian by nature. It's because it's doing violence to reality and violence to language.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.